Don, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Joe and Jim as well. Joe and Jim.
What?
Boulay.
Board and Boulay.
It's good to be with you, gentlemen.
The mind of Don Federer amazes us all.
If you can call it
that. Don, what do you think about the way the New Hampshire primary came out? Or just to start off, I wish you would say something that everybody else is talking about, and that is how are the pollsters so wrong on this particular election?
By the way, I think I'm taking it very well. I've been on suicide watch since New Hampshire. My wife has removed every sharp object from our home. In terms of how the pundits got it wrong in New Hampshire, well, they just, they can give you a snapshot of public opinion based on their samplings at any given point in time. They can't show you what's going on behind the scenes. They can't show you the dynamics. After Iowa, Huckabee's win in Iowa, which damaged Romney, and the fact that McCain has initially put all of his eggs in one basket, and that basket was New Hampshire. Once Romney got damaged in Iowa, then it was very easy for McCain, who, let us not forget, won New Hampshire in 2000, to put himself forward as the likely Republican nominee, the guy who's going to beat Hillary or Obama. The thing I find depressing, by the way, is the way things are shaping up now. The Republican nominee, I think, is either going to be McCain or Huckabee or Romney, far less likely Romney. By the way, Romney is the least objectionable of those three, which isn't saying a lot. But I just, like a lot of conservative activists, the Republican Party this year may end up nominating someone that I could not conceivably vote for.
Hey. I have a question, Don, just to jump ahead to it. I'm going to ask the same question to Joe Nollenberg. Out in Michigan, the economy is totally in the tank. That's one thing. The second thing is that the name Romney carries a lot of weight out there. What do you think? Is Romney going to take it out in Michigan?
I don't think he will. I almost hope he does, because if nothing else, it'll take the wind out of McCain's sail. But if I had to guess at this point, I would say no, Romney does not win Michigan. If the economy is bad, all the more reason not to put a business executive in charge. Romney now is on this kick. I'm a businessman. I'm a successful businessman. It's all about the bottom line. We want somebody who can take charge and change things. It's not about the bottom line. It really isn't. People are going to the polls, voting for vision, voting for character, voting for someone who they think can guide the ship of state through the turbulent seas of the war on terrorism, if I can use a terrible metaphor. They don't want a bottom line guy. They don't want. I think the best, by the way, in the entire primary campaign is, when he's talking about Mitt Romney and he says, who are you going to vote for? The man who looks like to the guy standing next to you on the assembly line, or the candidate who looks like the man who just laid you off? Yeah. That's Romney's big problem, and I think the problem is going to be more pronounced in Michigan, especially in a state where Democrats and independents can vote in the Republican primary. I think it may have been Rich Lowry in National Review that pointed out that in New Hampshire, Romney won the Republican vote. Registered Republicans who voted in the New Hampshire primary, Romney won them by about 7 percentage points. He lost to McCain on the independents. Michigan's going to be even worse for Romney, by the way, because not just independents, but Democrats get to vote in the Republican primary, which, by the way, makes absolutely no sense at all to me. But I would say the deck at this point is stacked against Romney. If indeed he pulls one out of the hat and wins Michigan, then obviously he's alive again. He has a good organization in California. and some other states that have a bonanza of convention delegates. But right now, Romney is on life support.
Well, Don, you've been doing media for many more years than either of us care to think of, and your judgment about the Huckabee line against Romney is true to the point where Huckabee is running that as a commercial in Michigan right now.
I didn't know that, Jim, but I'm not surprised. It's a great line, one of the best. The other one was McCain in one of the New Hampshire debates when Romney said he was for change. McCain looked at him with a slight grin on his face and said, "Well, we all agree to that." Alluding to the fact that Romney has changed his position on so many issues.
But wouldn't the fact that the Michigan primary for the Democrats is a beauty contest in which only Hillary is running, what's that going to do to independents who want to show their support or dislike for Madam Rodham?
Well, the fact that it's a beauty contest, I think, is going to be driving independents and Democrats into the Republican primary, and that's bad news for Romney. Good news for McCain, bad news for Romney.
But Don, one of the things to remember is that his father, George Romney, who was, I think, president of American Motors for a while, and actually had quite a good reputation in the state of Michigan. Do you think that counts for anything?
I'm sure it counts for something. The name is widely known. But, again, guys, remember, Romney was governor of Massachusetts for 4 years. Massachusetts, unlike Texas, George W. Bush lost New Hampshire, I believe, in 2000. Unlike Texas, Massachusetts is contiguous to New Hampshire. So people in New Hampshire have been hearing about Mitt Romney for a long time, and apparently that didn't have much of an impact, except among Republicans, of course.
Well, I'm curious, Don, one of the most interesting exit poll numbers I saw was that Catholics voted for Hillary over Obama.
I didn't see that. But, I mean, what's a Catholic going to do? They're both pro-abortion. They're both pro-gay marriage when you get right down to it, when you cut through the rhetoric. So, in terms of a traditional blue-collar Catholic vote, what's the difference?
Well, let's try another one then. Last night during the debate, we'll come to that.
Yeah, we got a break coming up. When we get back, we'll try to get into some of the bigger picture questions with Don Fetter. This is Joe Borda with Jim Boulay here on the Right Talk Radio Network, and we will see you on the other side of the break. Okay, Joe Borda sitting in for Paul Wyrick. If you want to call in, we do have a call-in number, 1-866-884-8255. And we're also experimenting this show with email questions. So if you want to send in an email question, you can. It's righthour@earthlink.net. And just shoot your question over here, and we'll be glad to ask Don for you. Jim, you got a question?
I do. Last night during the debate, Huckabee was asked about his terrible record on raising taxes, including, I don't think people realize this, $5 a day on nursing home beds, as though the elderly haven't paid enough taxes. And he responded again that huffy little Huckabee way and said, "Let me tell you what I raised, hope." So I guess we've got Eva Perón running for here.
I've often said, you take away Huckabee's position on abortion and marriage, and what you have is John Edwards